to say, I want to wish you a happy May the 4th. Or shall I say, May the 4th be with you. Comment down below who your favorite Star Wars character is just on this super special day. But before we get into the main video today, where I want to talk about kind of Tri-Series final requirements that I think we're going to see in the future, I just want to give you a quick update. So I was playing challenges on my phone. I wasn't recording it because I was like too lazy to do it. I wasn't too lazy to do it. I was just like, how am I really going to make a video just off like 3 races and 1 carbon fiber? You know what I mean? So I did it. I got the carbon fiber. I didn't record it. And of course, we got a legend, baby! We got a roof RT35. So I'm gonna add this into the collection. It's not the roof that is needed for the Yesco Absolute Finals, but it's a roof nonetheless, and that I will take that. I will happily take that. Very, very nice. So I think that is legendary number 86. Yes, where does this guy sit? Where is he sitting? In the 88s. Alright, so he's kind of sitting pretty next to my 177, between my 177 GT90 and the 12C. Okay, cool. I'll take that. 2012. Alright. But anyway, May the 4th be with you guys. Let's get into the video. It's a good one. Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Today I want to talk about something that I love to do with the guys on my Discord server. We always love to do this, and you guys, if you're in the Discord server, you always know this because every time we have a stream, there's like a 70% chance that we always end up speculating, what are going to be the next Tri-Series requirement? So obviously, we have the Yesco Absolute Prelims going on right now, and the Yesco Absolute Finals is going to come shortly after, and we already know that the requirements for this, as confirmed from the qualifiers for the Yesco Absolute, is going to be pre-2000s 4-seaters. This is what we're working with, right? So this is basically what I mean for a Tri-Series final requirement. And we always love talking about this in my Discord. We always like to speculate what future Tri-Series final requirements are going to be. Why we like to do this is because we like to gauge how prepared we are with the current garage that we have. And that's the video that I'm going to make today. Today we're going to go through a couple of suggestions that I have for future Tri-Series final requirements. So if you guys are watching, take out your Top Drives account and filter along with me and see how well you stand with the couple that I've made up. And also I got a couple suggestions from the guys in my server. So when predicting a final requirement, these are the things that Hutch always takes into account, which is also the name of my song, Take Account. Check it out, link below in the description. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, you guys know how it goes. But yes, these are all the things that I feel like Hutch takes into account when they want to cook up a new final requirement. Number 1, you must expect a small car pool. So as you can see here, only 218 cars, 3 legends, 4 epics, 23 ultra rares, and the bulk of the crap is really in super rare and below, where honestly super rare and below isn't going to help you in the Tri-Series. No way. So you're really looking at how many cars? About 30 cars, you know, in total in a game that has over 2,000. So you want a small car pool when it comes to predicting a final requirement. I know a lot of people are like, what if we just did convertibles? It doesn't work that way. The car pool is too big. It's never just going to be convertibles. The second thing you need to think about is make sure that the cars are undesirable. Cars that nobody wants to collect. Cars that nobody wants to max. So, you know, as little Blossom choice as possible. Obviously, it's going to be almost impossible to cut out every Blossom choice car or every car that seems good. Like even in this requirement, which I think a lot of people can agree which is a really bad requirement, there are still some pretty good cars like the Roof BTR and the Mazda Cosmo. But then again, you know, think about undesirable cars. Really, more importantly, undesirable high-end epics and legendaries. Because look at this. Nobody wants a CTR2, nobody wants a BTR2, and nobody really wants a 911 Turbo. In the game. In real life, I'm all for it. But in the game, these are cars that nobody wants to collect. The third thing is minimize repeats if possible. Okay? So like the Roof CTR2, the Porsche 959, these are cars that haven't been key in any Tri-Series final that we've had in 2021. It's the same with the RCT and the 911 Turbo. These are cars that, you know, just minimize repeats as much as possible. So the last final was, I can't even remember what it was. It was 2000s or something like that. And I think the best car was like a roof turbo R or whatever, you know, like make sure that the same car doesn't happen twice. Try and make sure the same car doesn't happen twice. So in all of these requirements I'm going to show you here, I don't think we'll see the CTR2 again. I don't think we'll see the BTR2 again, etc, etc, etc. Why Hutch wants to minimize repeats is because, you know, they want to get as much cash from you as possible. At the end of the day, they need to, you know, make a business from this game. So let's say that the BTR2 was repeated for every tri-series. You could get it from one tri-series, max it out, and then reuse it for the next two, which means that, you know, the chances of opening packs has been lowered. Hutch doesn't want that, you know, they gotta make the green, the dough. And the last thing is RQ has to be kept relatively low. We're thinking like below RQ 90. So kind of like this requirement. The highest RQ car is 87. I think it was for the Bentley Ono DR finals. The highest RQ car was 89 in the Gumper. You know what I mean? So these are all the things I need to take into account when I was making my suggestion video for all of these kind of predictions for final tri-series requirements. Of course, I still think that we're going to get a Ford final, even though that gets more and more unlikely as the months progress into the year. But I'm still hopeful that we'll get a Ford final somewhere down the line. But anyway, let's get into it. Here is my first, I want to say suggestions slash predictions. These are all suggestions and predictions. So the first one is 2018 5-seaters. We've seen this from Hutch. They like to do single years. It's either single years or 4 years. I don't know why, but they always do that. This is what we're working with. Now, 2018 plus 5-seaters, there are 13 ultra rares, 15 epics, and 5 legends. So that's pretty low. Now, here are my predictions for the tracks. If this was going to be a final requirement, 2018 5-seaters, what would the tracks be? I think it would probably be 2 to 3 off-road, and then those track sets that aren't off-road are probably going to be rain asphalt. Why I say rain asphalt and off-road? Because first of all, you can get a lot of off-roaders from 2018 5-seaters. You can get the F-Pace, the Stelvio Quadrifoglio, the SVR, and you know, the Raptor, the Levante S, the XC60. Next thing is rain asphalts. Why rain asphalts? Because if we added in rain asphalts, it would make both legendaries useful in the M5 and the M5 competition, but it wouldn't make the wide body or the CS or the 575 super useful. And that is key because a lot of people have the 575 max. It was so useful in the, I think, 2015 to 2019 GE finals for the McLaren P1, and then it's the same thing for the M3 CS. It's a Blossom choice. A lot of people have these max. And the wide body, it's the same thing. This car has been useful in the past. So I feel like if they put in rain asphalt, it would make these cars kind of irrelevant. So the only outliers here would be the I-Pace. A lot of people have the I-Pace max and this thing will kill. But once again, you know, you can't really cover all bases when you make a final requirement. What you can do is just try and cancel out as many repeats as possible. Another car that would be really useful would be the Bentley Flying Spur because it has 4-wheel drive and this is a really useless car, which is what Hutch wants. They want the players to max useless cars. So the Bentley Flying Spur would fit the bill really well. And then same thing with the whole off-road thing, right? X2, GMC. Another thing that I feel like they could do is probably make a bunch of like, not snow, but gravel track sets for the off-road, so off-road tires wouldn't even be that useful. So the F-150 Raptor, which is, I feel like a car that a lot of people would have max if they got it, wouldn't even be that useful, and you would be resorted into using all-surface tire cars. So yeah, key cars for this would be the F-Pace, the Stelvio, and probably some of the M5s as well. And the likelihood for this happening, I rated it 6 out of 10. The main reason why I give this a 6 out of 10 is because I feel like the off-roaders may be a bit too overpowered because like I said, you got to keep RQ limits low, and the fact that we have an RQ 93 and 91 kind of brings down the likelihood score a little bit. Anyway, let's move on to the next one, which I think is very, very likely, a lot more likely than this. So let's get rid of 2018 and 5-seaters. My next suggestion slash prediction of a tri-series requirement we'll see down the line in 2021 would be Great Exhibition. So let's look, oh, since we're already here, let's select Saloon, and then we'll select Great Exhibition, and boom, this is all we got. So the car pool is 15 ultra rares, 7 epics, and 1 legendary. So let me know, once again, like I said, you know, take out your top drives and see how likely these requirements are for you. That maybe this might be a great requirement for you, maybe it might not. And then I think for the tracks, if this was going to be a Tri Series final, would be all asphalt with a mixture of dry and wet, with a little bit of City Streets Medium thrown into the mix, okay? So with those tracks, that's a little bit of dry and wet, City Streets Medium. The key cars would be the Bentley Flying Spurs, basically. All of the Bentley Flying Spurs. Basically what happens here is that we want a GE finals where the four-wheel drive medium ground clearance Bentleys would be useful, but once again we have to get rid of the 575. We cannot make the 575 a key car because it has already been a key car in the past. So like I said, the Flying Spurs would be useful, like this one, which is also 2018, the Flying Spur W12, the Flying Spur V8S, the Flying Spur W12S, and the Flying Spur Legendary. You know, this I can see is very, very likely. It's a small epic pull. It's a very small legendary pull, and the only legendary is very bad at RQ85. So I think that my likelihood of seeing this down the line is 9 out of 10. The fact that we haven't seen it yet is pretty interesting, because when you think about it, we've already had, what, German saloons and Italian saloons? So GE saloons would really fit the bill and kind of just complete the trio, I guess, the holy trinity of trash. But next up, this was a suggestion from Sleepy from my channel, and I gave this a likelihood level of 7 out of 10. So let me just show you what he suggested here. He said that let's go for 2012 to 2016, which is nice. Like I said, Hutch likes to go for those 4-year intervals. So boom, where's 2016? 2016, there you go. And 2012, and then country is French. Okay, so let's look at the prize pool. We have 2 legendaries, 4 epics, and 4 ultras. So yes, you can see why I give this a pretty low likelihood level. Not super low, like 3 out of 10, but 7 out of 10, mainly because there are only 4 ultra rares you can get. Usually they like to keep the legendaries and the epic prize pool pretty small, but the ultra rare count pretty high when it comes to, you know, a requirement pool for a final Tri Series. But let's have a look at this. Why do I think it might be viable? Well, I think that the track sets, what they will have to do is probably put some low twisty reins plus some dry fasts. Basically no mediums, you know, in this theoretical final, with a mixture of twisty reins and dry fasts. Why? It's because you would get rid of the 308, which was useful in the past with all the ER stuff that went along, and also it will take away the usefulness from the 208 T16. I feel like this is an incredibly OP car that will change any game, that a lot of players, if they already unpacked it, would have it maxed. So if, you know, if I was Hutch, I would be thinking, okay, I would need to make track sets where the T16 and the 308 would be out of the equation, and so the useful cars would kind of be falling into the standards, like the DS Numero 9 and the Citroen CX. And of course, the Peugeot Onyx would be the car that wins it all. I give it a likelihood of 7 out of 10 because once again, we have a legendary above 90. And also the DS, oh god, my throat. Alright guys, and we're back. For some reason my throat decided to get dried up, so I got some water, but I'm back. We were talking about the DS Numero 9. So I'm saying that why I chose these track sets is because it would make the DS Numero 9 and the Citroen CX Experience the more useful cars because they're 4-wheel drive and standard. But why I think the likelihood of this is pretty low is because if you want to make dry fast, low twisty, so dry fast would be for the Onyx, and then low twisty would be the Numero 9, the CX Experience. But then the ultra rares, none of them are really going to help you with those track sets, to be completely honest. So it's really hard to just find track sets that would work where it would get rid of the T16, but also make the ultra rares kind of useful and the rest of the epics kind of useful. Like I said, you know, 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. So there definitely has to be rain in there just to get rid of the slick tire car. But that's why I'm not giving this a likelihood level of anything higher than, you know, a 7, which is what I gave it. Anyway, next up is a suggested from Korn, and he says 1996 to 1999. And then we'll go into miscellaneous and select coupe. So this is what I think is another potential final requirement, as you can see here, suggested by Korn. And I think the track sets for this final would be the classic, right? You want your dry asphalts with twisties and fast. And then the key cars would be the McLaren F1 GT and possibly the Pagani Zonda C12. The likelihood of this would be 7 out of 10. The main reason why I gave it 7 out of 10 is because I felt like the F1 GT might create too much of a power gap, because it is incredibly OP compared to like kind of the rest of the the epics here. I mean, even if we put in a twisty situation, it still handles better than the C12. So it would be pretty interesting to see if this ever came in. But in terms of, you know, just ultra epic and legendary count, it is very, very likely. Only 3 legends, 6 epics, and 11 ultras. But this is something to think about down the line. I feel like the epics really work in really well. And the main reason why I say we should really focus on kind of dry twisties and fast is so the W12 isn't the best legendary to get. Why the W12 shouldn't be the best legendary to get is because this has been useful in a couple finals in the past. Not only that, it used to be epic, so a lot of people kind of have this maxed already, which is another reason why going into the Yesco Absolute Finals, I feel like my 911 Turbo might not be the best card to use, because I feel like, well, you know, once again, it's a card that used to be epic that went up to being a legendary, so a lot of people might have it maxed. So Hutch might find track sets where the 911 Turbo might be pretty useless, which is why I think they might put in some City Streets medium. Alright, so next up, I think this one has a likelihood of 9.5 out of 10. This one is pretty crazy, okay? I guarantee you that we're gonna see this Tri-Series this year. It has to happen, okay? So decades and years, once again, we're going into a single year in the 2000s. Hutch loves that. We've seen 2001, we've seen 2006. Now we're going 2005, but not just 2005. We're going into 2005, and then we need to find drivetrains and only select rear-wheel drive. And this is what we're working with. 2 legendaries, 5 epics, and 12 ultra rares. That is perfection for a Tri-Series final, if there were any, okay? So these are the Ultra Rare collections, a bunch of garbage, Epic collections, a bunch of garbage, Legendary collections, literally all garbage. Like, Hutch should be sweating at this, okay? This is the perfect Tri-Series final requirement for 2021, for the future, okay? So what I think here for the track sets would be the classic dry and fast twisties. Okay, like the dry track sets of twisties and fast. Maybe 1 fast wet, possibly. Sorry, I wrote in my notes maybe 1 fast wet, but I meant to say maybe 1 medium fast. So kind of like Monaco City Streets medium, because you have cars like the STSV, which is medium, so that might be useful as a key car. And then the key cars would be the Zonda and the Ford GT, which are both undesirable and neglected legends. I know so many people that have sold the Ford GT many, many times, and all the epics are really bad as well. When you think about it, the CSR is, well, the worst Caterham epic, or one of the worst Caterham epics, okay? Because when you think of Caterham, you think of the Superlight or the JPE. Everything else is kind of irrelevant. I've actually unpacked the CSR 3-4 times, and I've fused it 3-4 times because it's useless. You know, the STS, nobody really wants that. The firepower, the TVR, they're all really, really bad, and I think that this is definitely going to be a final requirement down the line. So my likelihood score for this is 9.5 out of 10, if not just straight up 10 out of 10. Like, I even wrote down in my notes literally no faults about this. Like, I guarantee you, one day we're going to see a Tri-Series where the qualifier prizes is going to be like, I don't know, maybe tier 1 is the XKR, tier 2 is the Maserati Spider Grand Sport. You know, by then, it will be 2005 rear-wheel drive. This is going to happen, all right? Clip this. This is going to happen. 2005 rear-wheel drive finals. It's going to happen. Just look at it. It's just a bunch of crap. Like, Hutch would love that. All right, last but not least, we have one final requirement, one final prediction slash suggestion for the day. So let's get rid of 2005 and rear-wheel drive, and once again we're going to go back into years, and this time we're going into a year span of 4 years. So decade and years right now, let's go into 2011. So where's 2011? There you go. And then 2005, and then we need to go into miscellaneous and select SUV. So, what's the collections here? We have 7 ultra rares, 8 epics, and 2 legendaries. Now, track sets for this is going to be not insane, but crucial, okay? Because, hear me out. I want a final. I don't want a final, but I want a final just because I know that this is going to happen. So, I kind of want it just so I can tell you, haha, I'm right. But I don't want it because look at this. I literally don't have any of the cars in this requirement. But, we need to make a final. Like, okay. Imagine I'm Hutch, okay, and we're thinking about new final requirements. I'll be like, yes, we need a final where the Audi RSQ3 and the Nissan Juke R are the key cars, all right? So what we'll need to do is basically make the final 2011 to 2015 SUVs, and then the tracks have to be dry and fast and asphalt. Yup, an SUV final where the track sets are dry, fast, and asphalt. Not off-road, asphalt, okay? Because when you think about it, the RSQ3 and the Juke R are both performance tires. So those cars are going to be huge. Why I added fast is because then the AMG ML63 and the GLE 63 would both be useful cars as well. Because although they have all-surface tires, they're still really fast cars. They have very low 0 to 60s, and they would be okay on a quarter mile, on a half mile, right? And then the cars that we need to think about to kind of get rid of would basically be the SQ5. The SQ5 cannot be useful. Why? It's because this car was already useful in like the diesel quote-unquote finals for the Halloween special, I think it was. So they want to get rid of that. A lot of people would have the SQ5 maxed, and then a lot of people would have the MDX max from the Acura finals as well. And then the Ultra Rares, once again, the Ford Edge Sport would be really useful for this tri-series. The likelihood for me, the rating that I gave it would be 9 out of 10. I think that this is pretty likely to happen. The Juke and RSQ3 are unicorns, especially the RSQ3. This is a definite unicorn car. So this final would make them shine, basically. Now, I know that the Juke R was given out as a prize car for, I think, the first ever Owners Challenge, but the first ever Owners Challenge you have to take into account was so hard where my pay-to-win friends couldn't even win it. So because of that, I don't think a lot of people got the Juke R from that anyway, and I don't think a lot of people actually own the Juke R. And I feel like the 2011 to 2015 SUV pack would be an amazing pack for Corn to open, because I know that this is the last legendary that Corn actually needs for Nissan. So, you know, Corn, if this pack ever comes into fruition, best of luck to you. But the likelihood for this, like I said, is 9 out of 10. I think it will happen. It's likely only if the tracks are actually dry. Like, they need to make the Juke R and RSQ3 shine. Those are the two cars. This is a final where I know I will probably get like tier 5 in, because I mean the best I got is literally Ultra Rares. Like, this is what I got. That's what I got. I got none of the epics, and I've got none of the legendaries. It's funny because I used to own the X6. I used to own the ML63 before it was buffed. And I think I even had the BMW X3 at one point, but they're all gone now, so kind of irrelevant. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Those are my predictions and suggestions for future Tri-Series finals. I know it's not something that you would be excited about, because these are car pulls that are really bad. But that's the point. Tri-Series are built on bad car pulls, and these are very good bad car pulls. Oh, the irony. But if you think I missed out on any, if you have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments below. But basically, when it comes to thinking of future Tri-Series requirements, if there is a Superlight in that filter, if there's a Bugatti in that filter, if there's a 962, you know it's never going to happen. Those are just dead giveaways of things that are never going to happen. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. Let me know what you thought about this video. I had a lot of fun making this, actually. I had a lot of fun just thinking of what final requirements are going to be, or what we're going to see in the future. But anyway, I hope you guys had a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace. I bring the toast in the back and we going berserk with the guns on the rack, and we taking account to the sound of the crack. Running from us with the pop and the, cause we're making the moves and the sounds of the P. Calling the shots, so bitch looking at me, and we taking account to the flow in the back with the drop in the cash. You know this ain't a prank. Moving like water, talking with fire. I'm back on the cover to mama's desire. Keep riding the flames like a man on a mission. Rejected again, but you better go listen. Pop up at Billy, run up the Billy. My face on the boards and you all gonna see me. I work my wrist to look dicey as Yachty. Flexing the club, something sincerely Louis. Hey.